Testing, testing, 1 2 1 2, testing, testing, 1 2 1 2. Test, test. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are at Watkins Glen for race 5 of 6 for the league. So, in first we have Adam, second is Greg Rest, third is Christian, fourth is Justin, fifth is Andrew, sixth is Caleb, seventh is Joshua, and then we have Harrison, Daniel, Chris, Matthew, and then Ellis starting from the back there. Alright, formation lap starting. So Ellis is currently leading, but Chris John is in third, Justin's in about fourth, and Andrew's in fifth. So Ellis has a decent lead, but if anything happens this race or the next race, it's anybody's game. The gap's only about 15 points, which is, I mean, if someone else gets first place, they're right back in it. lap time wise, everyone was within about a second of each other during qualifying, a second or two. They were running 49s to 50s, so gonna be pretty solid in terms of lap times. Watkins Glen is kind of one of those tracks where if you lose your focus, it's kind of over. You need to stay in a rhythm because there's a lot of very sweeping turns and a lot of them look like each other. So if you follow that rhythm and you forget that one is a lot more sweeping than the other, you are face to face with the massive NASCAR walls, and it is not pretty. There's like hardly no runoff on Watkins Glen. You have maybe one or two corners where there's a big runoff, but outside of that, you're threading a thin line here. It's more so set up like a road course, just you gotta be careful. And a very popular overtaking spot, which is where they're going right now, is the kink here. We have seen many a death here in NASCAR and sports racing, so we'll keep an eye on that. We'll see how that goes during the race, especially on cold tires. A lot of people try to send on the outside or the inside, and that's two deaths. So we'll see how that turns out there. We got a Ellis number one in chat. He is pretty fast. So funny story. Ellis hasn't iRaced in he said close to 2 years. He has a pretty high I rating, but he was kind of retired for a while. So he was starting back it up and seeing kind of if he wanted to get back into iRacing. So he joined our league, and there he is. He still got it. Now there's a secret strat out there for people warming up your tires. A lot of people they leave, but in iRacing, if you drag your brake ever so slightly, it will consume a little bit more fuel, but those tires get really warm for lap one. So I don't know. That's what I do, but I know a lot of people do other strategies. And then we have one pit again. The fuel level is set to 70%, so most of the time people can pit anywhere from the 20-minute mark on and get away from it. So we'll see how that fares. Watkins Glen is a pretty smooth track, so not super taxing on your tires. You should be able to like have solid full grip throughout it. Shouldn't really have to worry about tire fade or anything like that.
Green, green, green.
Alright, we are green. Let's see what happens here. Going into turn one. Honestly, you couldn't pass almost anyone on the track. It's a pretty wide track, which is nice. See Joshua sent it in there on turn one. Got a one car length right there, but they switched back here coming into turn two. Top five here looking pretty much how they started. The only person that's really moving up there is Josh. Made a pretty decent charge there. Three wide. They are carrying some massive speed to the kink. Let's hope Joshua doesn't get killed. Oh my gosh, he caught air over that curve. That was... He is super close there. This is some tight racing. Oh! I spoke too soon. Well, there you go. You gotta be really cautious on lap one, but it looks like he kept it off the wall, which is good. Everyone's moving a little bit slower on, lap two, so Joshua definitely seeing those tires there, so he might be able to make it back. But yeah, he was being a little too aggressive on lap one, so we'll see how that plays here. Josh is pretty much top 10 for every race. He has really good pace, really good consistency. He doesn't crash very often, so we'll see if he can make back up those places there. Looks like our leaders are selling in here. We have Adam, Greg, Chris, and Justin. So making their way through here. Andrew Shorts around the outside. Still too wide. There's a little bit of a gap here, but we'll see what develops after lap one when the standings update. So that's one of the corners there that has a pretty massive runoff, and that is one full lap. see if Andrew goes for it. Nah. These guys should go by here. We got 2x2 back there. Ellis opening up. Brady can try to get from last one. Fourth place in one lap. You guys really doing some work. Everyone's piling over the king. We kind of have two different packs going. We have the front runners, which are about 6 people, and then we have the back people, which are about 6 to 8 people. So they're staying pretty close together here. You can see the front runners are using all of that track. They've definitely put a good amount of practice into here. I mean, they're pretty much on the grass for every turn coming in. They're making sure to open up that turn wide. I mean, so far so good. Really only one death at the beginning there from just, getting a little too aggressive. But outside of that, not too bad at all. Number 12? Who's number 12? Ellis? He's making his way through that pack there. Let's see if he can catch the front runners. I mean, he's got some pretty good lap times. In some races, even Smith is still coming back. He's kind of crazy. He's got really good pace. What I always think about, oh, they're going side by side into the kink. They filed in. Every time I race Watkins Glen, I always think about how in the world these NASCAR drivers race it. I mean, it's already semi-hard enough in a, sports car with downforce, less horsepower, pretty nimble. But these guys are like, they have these hulking machines with zero downforce, no gauge at all. It's just, I don't know how they race road courses. And a lot of people, when they come to the sim launcher, it's kind of the same thing. They do the NASCARs around the oval because, like, I mean, how hard could it be? And then now, even handling this in an oval is super difficult. And I throw him on a road course for fun, and that's when disaster strikes. Alright, let's get a good look at these lap times here. So, Adam filing with a 147, Greg with a 148, Ellis with a 147.5, saying the fastest lap. Oh, Adam just stole it. It's shuffling around. We have Daniel Roberts with the fastest lap right now. Chris John filing in there, Caleb Ruddick, Joshua Brady, and then Harrison Sparko. And then, so Joshua and Matthew, they haven't set a clean lap yet, so that's why their times aren't blank. But like I said, everyone's running pretty much the same lap times. You have your top, what is that? I mean, Josh was pretty fast too, so top 9 within about a second, second and a half of each other. So they're pretty much evenly matched on pace in anybody's game. But we're coming up on kind of where the tires are going to start hitting their operating temperature. So we're going to see really what the lap times are looking like now. They're not semi-warm anymore. We got hot tires. You guys can see that little runoff there. There are tires dredging through it, and so the cool thing about iRacing is even with that, game-like feature, over time they will trench out that little area, and your tires kind of hook into it, almost like a regular curve. So we can keep an eye on that. We'll see it race by race. It happens a lot in Sebring in real life on the runoffs, and so we'll probably see a little bit of that here in the Porsche Cup because the optimal line is to cut over it a little bit. So we'll see how that affects a lot of people. gotta love that camera. Checking on the leader here, we have Adam just kind of blazing through here. He is making a little bit of a gap. It's about a 1.5, 2 second gap. He's flying in this clean air here. We're gonna see if our league leader Ellis can make a charge for him. Surprising enough, it looks like top 12 are pretty much within 10, 15 seconds of each other. So there's not a huge separation. Like I said, we do have that backpack there, but hopefully they're able to draft up and possibly make it back up to the leaders. We'll see. Let's check in on the backpack here. So we have a Harrison, and he is right next to Joshua Brady. Oh, there goes Harrison. The camera on some of these curves will get you, which is, oh no, he got smacked hard. Who is that coming around there? Oh man, was that Chris Collins? That was Chris Collins. It's a pretty blind corner, so I mean, unless your spotter's telling you a triple caution, you might hit somebody there. That was a real unfortunate crash there. It looks like Harrison's car is planted. Let's see if he can limp it back to the pit lane, and he will probably have to pit again. Holy cow. That car is not looking good right now. Oh man. Let's do a little electric slide there. I think he's gonna tow. Yeah, he's towing right there. That is unfortunate. I mean, that turn has a lot of camber. So if you get your car up and it's going flat over the camber instead of slingshotting with it, that's what happens in the Porsche. They're pretty low. The weight ratio is way towards the back, and so it'll kind of just pencil them out if you go up the curve on the turns. Let's see. We have Ellis up in second place. He's making a charge. Let's see if he can catch up to Adam in front there. That looked like some debris, like someone's mirror or something. Maybe from that crashed Porsche. Nah, his mirror was like tumbling across the grass. That was pretty funny. Let's check in on Chris Collins here. He was kind of part of that accident. Looks like he's not pitting. Maybe the damage isn't too bad. I wasn't able to see if he smacked the wall too hard or not. Looks like he has a little bit of front damage, which is probably from hitting that car, but not terrible. Matthew Barkley there. We have Justin who pitted. I think he was kind of involved in that accident too, so he's taking an early pit. Maybe he can make it work. I'm not 100%, so 50 minutes. I know that at full fuel you can make it just over an hour, but the fuel's limited to about 70%, so I think that he's probably gonna have to pit again. Now Justin has some pretty quick pace, but we'll see because he's out of the pack now, so fuel savings will be pretty hard. Let's check back in with this front pack here. We have Christian, Caleb Reddick, Andrew Schwartz, and surprising enough, Joshua Brady is slowly but surely catching back up to that pack there. He had a pretty bad first lap just for being a little bit too over aggressive, but he's making a charge. We'll see. Can he catch up to that front pack there? That'd be really good for him. And here's the front pack. Ellis has revealed himself to the leader right there. So they're coming up to each other right there. That's pretty nice. We're going to see a little bit of a battle. See if we can maybe pass him. I'm surprised no one's taking that NASCAR line there. You could go pretty wide and get away with it in iRacing because it's still the exact same. But I'm sure in these cars it probably slows you down a little bit. They have the arrow to stick to the track a little bit more, so they don't have to use that much speed. And here we have the battle for first place. On the inside, they left each other room. Pretty respectful. They are flying now. Both of them are pulling way up the tag. This shows you how much pace they have up here in the front. Looks like Adam did get passed by Ellis right there. Let's see if he can make a charge back up to the front. That was a pretty nice pass. Alright, so let's take a quick second here to give a shout out to some of our sponsors. So, first we have Total Care Urgent Care. Fantastic urgent care. They pretty much open 24 hours a day. They'll check you out. They'll make sure you're all good and healthy and make sure you're in working order so you can get back to sim racing. Second, we have Z-Light. That's a telemedicine service. They are fantastic for, again, if you're feeling under the weather. You can just call in and they'll have a board certified doctor talk to you, diagnose you, they can even prescribe you medication over the phone that you get up and running and don't have to ruin your day waiting at a doctor's office with a whole bunch of other sick people. Then we have Mophead Designs. Matty Mophead has been racing in our league for 5 years, and everybody calls him Matty Mophead because of his hair. He has a mop on his head. No joke. But he does fantastic design and does a lot of great car work, and overall it's a really solid shop to go to. And then we have Kaiser Garage. Kaiser Garage is kind of your one-stop shop if you're wanting to design or decorate a garage space like the Motor Enclave, Sebring Motor Garages, things like that, where they have premium garages and you want to decorate them, make it a man cave, make it a living house, wherever you want. They can help you with that. They can provide simulators. They can also just help you with flooring, tiling, roofing, and everything. Alice made that pass there. Let's go. Let's see here. There's Ellis. He's making a little bit of a gap there, but it's not too far away. Adam might be able to catch him. We will see. Ellis is super. Oh, he ate a little bit too much of that curve there until the car. That might scrape a little bit one off time. And you can just tell, you can see how close they're getting to that wall coming off that exit. Really maximizing that track there. We have this basically triple trio here of Porsche Cups. We've got Caleb Reddick somewhat in the middle of it. We have Chris John leading up there in front. And then we have Andrew Schwartz not too far behind playing catch up with him. Let's check in on Joshua Brady here. He is slowly catching up to that pack, but it's kind of hard to make headway when you don't have that draft. They are getting a little bit back in front of him. Here's Chris Collins and Justin. Justin did do a pit. Check back in on the pack here. So, I mean, you can see right there on that exit, like I was saying, they're starting to get a little bit of a trench there. It develops from the tires of the car pretty much. So, towards the end of the race, you're going to have to be extra careful on staying with that car because you end up in that ditch and it might just, you might catch air. It actually looks like the car behind Caleb Andrew is catching him, but Greg Weston for who's in front of him? Chris John is actually pulling away. That's got to be the best camera angle right there. I mean, you see them flying past inches from the wall. That's kind of hit or miss actually. He's gaining on some corners on Caleb, and other corners Caleb's pulling away. So it's kind of a give and take. We're gonna see who wins that endurance battle there. Who stays the most consistent. But Caleb is also slowly catching up to Chris John here. Just checking on our leader. There's Ellis, and there's Adam. He is making a little bit of a gap there. But with the pit stop, I mean, and that gap's almost negligible. We'll see if he still is charging ahead. Adam close behind, running about point 0.1, point 0.2 slower, something like that. And then behind them is that pack. So we have Greg West kind of just in limbo there. Christian up front, then Caleb, and then Andrew. Joshua Brady still hoping to make a comeback. And here we have Justin with the early pit stop strategy. Ready to see if it pays off or not. And we just hit the 40-minute mark. So that is the pit window for most of these cars. So with that being said, you can pit whenever you'd like, but 40 minutes is usually where it's safe enough to come into the pits, refuel, and make it to the end of the race. Looks like he is gaining pretty rapidly, actually. That gap is shrinking from Caleb Reddick to Chris John there. Looks like on the straight, he was actually getting a really good pull. Oh, but Chris John got a much better exit coming out of there. I mean, both of them are getting faster every lap, so they are definitely pushing each other to their limits. Let's check back in on our leaders. Ellis has made actually a pretty sizable gap there. I think he really likes that line, the almost spinning on the exit of that last turn there. It's keeping him pretty solid. He's truly limit destined there. So yeah, let's see here. Caleb Reddick to point 0.8 to Cristiano in front. And Andrew's about 1.5-ish seconds back. So So we'll keep an eye on this battle box here and see if that gap shrinks at all. Alright, let's check it on these lap times here, see what everybody's running. So first place we have Ellis 146.5, Adam 146.8, Greg 147.3, Chris the 147.5, Caleb with the 147.4, and then Andrew with the 47.7. Joshua Bradley back there with a 148.2. That's pretty respectable for outside the draft. So our lap times pretty much line up with who's in front. The only thing would be Caleb and Christian. Caleb does have a slightly faster lap. I'm assuming it's because he's getting a little bit of that draft back there, so he's getting that point one from it. Every lap it looks so close, and then ducking into the chicane here. Oh, actually, he didn't get too much of a pull that time. Normally he pulls away, but that was pretty solid right there. You can see very different lines. I mean, the gap isn't really shrinking, so it's pretty much the same lap times, completely different lines there. Oh, Caleb Reddick mowing the lawn a little bit there with his pole stint. And that was that same corner where I said started getting stretched out, so his tire might have hit that trench right there. Sent him a little outside of the curb. Probably what happened. Christian making a little mistake there too, so they're pretty much even. They kind of canceled out on Caleb Reddick's off track there. They're pulling pretty far behind your shorts now. That is a good thing about having at least someone semi in front of you. You both just are at the limit. Because the guy behind you is bloodthirsty trying to catch the guy in front. And the guy in front's like, oh shoot, I gotta speed up or else this guy's gonna catch me. So that's the duality of racing right there. So they're both elevating each other to go a little bit faster than at the beginning of the race. That is what I tell a lot of people that come in here. They kind of want a hot lap all day to get faster, but the fastest way to get fast in sim racing is to just race. Hot lap just enough so you know your brake markers, you know the track, stuff like that. Usually like 5 to 10 laps when you're actually at your speed. And then when you actually race, instead of spending like 200 laps trying to get down 1 or 2 seconds, you'll do it in like 15 during a race. Because the guy in front of you, odds are, will be a little bit faster, and you can see exactly what his car was doing. You're a lot better at visually learning stuff as opposed to trying to visualize it or like imagine in your head like, oh, this is the fast line. If you saw someone do the fast line, you could probably do the same thing. That's what happens in a lot of these races here. They'll memorize the track, learn the turns and stuff, but then during the race they'll throw up some absurd lap times because of the guy in front of them. Looks like the pack is scrunching up here a little bit. Greg is dropping down. checking on our leader here. We have Adam back up in first place. Sounds like Ellis is indeed in the pit lane, right at the 30-minute mark. Solid work from him. He's gonna exit pretty close to Chris Collins. Now, I'm not 100% if Chris Collins has to come back into the pits or not. Actually, no, he hasn't pitted yet, so Chris Collins is going to be still in the pit window. Ellis is in the pits. And then we have Andrew Shorts, who is fighting desperately to catch these two guys fighting. Caleb Reddick and Chris John, who are actually nose to tail now. So, we'll see how that plays out. Oh, a little crossover to the inside. Nice move. Did he make it stick? He did not make it stick, but that is the fun of being behind. You're basically playing mind games with the guy in front of you. You're like, I might pass here, I might pass there. You're basically trying to make him feel super nervous. You're like, this guy is desperately trying to pass. But you in the back, you're like, nah, I'll pass him whenever I want. So that's kind of nerves at the forefront. But if you're an experienced driver, you won't let that bother you. So we'll see how his nerves are faring. Basically, you try and force the pass through some mental gymnastics. But surprising enough, it looks like they're both slowing down a little bit because they are a lot closer. So Andrew Schwartz is arriving on the scene shortly. We have that looks like Chris John, so I hope he got some repairs for the damages there. But he's exiting back out of the fight here. He's gonna have a little bit of a fight, hopefully. Get a little bit of pace running these guys because they are lapping very consistently and pretty fast. Hopefully this pulls him along a little bit faster too. And he has that pit. I don't think he went a lap down, so the guys in front of him still have to pit, so he will technically be in front. Ellis setting another blazing lap coming back through traffic. Let's go get a check in on him. There he is. Okay, so he hasn't hit the traffic yet, but he's gonna eventually hit them because let's see where Andrew Schwartz is. So Andrew is hitting the uphill here, and Ellis is coming around. So maybe like a 5-second gap somewhere around there. But like I said, Andrew Schwartz is literally arriving on the scene. This is gonna be a three-man battle. So I'm not too sure, but I think they are slowing down slightly. I mean, let's take a look here. So we have actually let's take a look back at that. So we have Justin. Who's behind Justin right there? That's Joshua Brady. Actually, I believe is that Adam in front? No. There we go. Greg West, second place. So he's overtaking some lap traffic here. And it looks like they both took this event at the same time. Christian and Caleb Ruddick, nose to tail. Andrew Short has some free air now. Let's see if we can make any headway without them. But let's see who gets the better pit exit. Because this is pretty much determined who's going to be leading the battle here. Now, it should be Christian because he was behind Caleb Ruddick for the majority of it. So, in theory, he should have used the less fuel. But you never know depending on driving styles. So I might have a heavier foot. Let's see, Christian is behind. Caleb Reddick is up in front. But they're exiting pretty much together. Looks like neither of them took tires, just fuel. The right thing to do, good call. And they're back to battling. Let's check in on Andrew here. So he does have some clean air now. He's lapping pretty well. He's in third place provisionally, but he still has a pit stop to take. So give or take 3 or 4 positions after the pit stop, that's kind of where he's gonna land. And we're back to a battle between Christian and Caleb Ruddock. We have Greg West here, still trying to get past Justin, but Justin has some pretty good pace. Even though he is a little bit behind because of that early accident, Justin is a pretty solid driver. Surprisingly enough, I think Justin's been having some really bad luck. He's kind of been in a lot of accidents throughout the league, but I'd say about 70 to 80% weren't really his fault. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like somebody spun, and he came around the blind corner and grabbed him. Or, I mean, they were going into a turn and another guy clipped him. So, wasn't really Justin's fault. He's just been more racing it out. But good on him for toughing it out. Looks like Red West got past Justin there. So he's back to lapping. Adam still has to pit too, so he's going to drop back a decent amount of paces when he pits. Andrew Short's in provisional third. Caleb Ruddock right here. Let's see where his best friend Christian is. Oh, he's got headway on him. Ellis is, let's see where he is compared to them. He's slowly bringing that gap down. Maybe about, I'd say 2 or 3 laps will be on top of him. You can see them right there heading into the chicane. Here's Collins, toughing it out. And we have Justin there. We have just hit the 25-minute mark there. So within about the next 5 to 7 minutes, that will be the maximum time for the pit strategy. So after that, people will have to pit unless they're who saved a ton. But on Watkins Glen, probably not. Alright, let's see what these lap times are looking like. So we have Adam still at 46.8, Greg at 47.3. Andrew 47.7, Caleb 47.4. It looks like Caleb has slowed down a little bit, surprisingly. Let's take a look at the. So, yeah, so Caleb's last lap 48.3. Let's check in on Christian's last lap 48 flat. So, Christian is technically catching there. Andrew Short's the 48.3 there. Greg West in the 47s without much traffic. And Adam in the 47s as well. Let's check in on Ellis's lap times here. Consistently in the 47s. That 46 was rapid though. That is probably going to be the fastest lap of the race. Oh, he's catching him. So probably be a battle to the end, to be honest, because I'm sure if he passes, Chris is going to get faster behind him again. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see how much of a toe he gets on the front and back straights. Oh, he's peeking his nose in there. Both of them staying out of that trench. I'm sure both of them have noticed by now. If you dip your tires in there, it's over. You guys can see in the very back there, Ellis is slowly making a march back up these guys. And all three of them have the pit, so I wonder what happened to Ellis's pit. Maybe he had some damage that needs repair. Maybe he took new tires, more fuel. Not 100%, but his pit was definitely a lot slower than both these guys. Oh, let's see if he tries to make some move in the kink. They're both going uphill. Might have to lift slightly to stay on the line. Yep. Almost a little bit of a bump trap there. Both of them not wanting to give way, which I wouldn't either. Flying over that curve there. Whew. Look at that entry speed. Caleb Reddick stands his ground and up in front. Checking on Andrew Schwartz if they're catching him. So Andrew Schwartz is a little ways ahead. Like I said, he still has to pit. Let's see these lap times when they crash that start finish. Let's see. Alright, so Caleb's last lap was a 149. Christian was 148.5. Caleb got held up pretty hard on that lap. I was probably going into that kink. He got kind of a bad exit because of going side by side into it. Let's get a check in on Ellis here. Ellis is on that same straight as them now. It's a good ways back, but he's getting there. I'm surprised Andrew Schwartz has not pitted yet, I believe, so he's still moving along. That's the second time Christian has mowed the lawn there coming out of that turn. Pretty dicey, but he's holding his line. Hopefully he doesn't accumulate too many off tracks because then that'll earn him a drive through once he hits 40. But he should probably only be at like 10 or 15 right now, so he's still okay. Chris is definitely pulling away now. And there is Ellis on the scene. He's got, I'd say, about 2 or 3 laps until he's on top of them because he's lapping a second or two quicker, somewhere around there. Chris actually making a sizable gap, about half a second there. I wonder if he suffered a little bit of his back there from Caleb Reddick or something. We will have to see. Or he could be getting a little nervous that Ellis is behind them. Like I said, that guy is super quick. It's like you're watching Max Verstappen before the race. He still hasn't pitted. He's really stretching that fuel, kind of all three of them here. Let's see where Ellis is in retrospect. He's catching a little bit slower than I thought. He's running the 47, so almost the same lap times as both of them. Chris Collins doing 47s. Justin is 48 to 49s. Ellis loves that that wide line there. He's been taking it almost every lap. I'm assuming that's where the time is. I mean, he has the fastest lap. Either that's where the time is, or maybe it saves his tires a little bit. But either way, I mean, he's lit. He's locked in on that wide line. Really making sure he uses all the track. There's a pretty decent gap there now. Christian around the Nos there, getting a pretty good headway away from him. Christian might just have a little bit more raw pace. So outside of the draft, Andrew's not gonna get Caleb's not gonna get as much of a tow from him. A lot of times they're just suffering from him and dropping down. But what's good is Ellis is coming up on him. That was Andrew ducking into the pit lane. So let's see where he comes out, because it was basically a three-way battle. So he should come out in between both these guys or someone a little bit behind them. Let's see. Looks like Andrew and Greg West ducked in. So there's Greg coming out. See when Andrew's car drops. There's Andrew's car. Let's see where Christian is. Oh my goodness. I called it. He's going to be right in the middle of Christian. There's his car. So he slotted pretty much back in with them. So now we'll see. Maybe he's going to be able to pick up a little bit of a tow or something. There's Ellis behind Christian and Andrew. Maybe. Ooh. I'm wondering if Caleb Reddick had a little bit of a spin when we were checking on the pit lane. Looks like his front end has some damage. That is quite unfortunate. He was in the run for top 5 there. There's Ellis right on top of him. Let's see if he's going to give way. Oh! He closes the door on him. Andrew Shorts. Alright, he let him go there. But let's see if he can tuck in and maybe gain some traction to get up ahead here. It'd be really nice if he can at least stay within half a second, because that giraffe is monstrous on this track. These straights are huge. Here we go. We got the 3-man DRS train. He pulled away fast. Ellis pulled away really fast from Andrew Shorts there. Let's see if he can make quick work of Christian. Christian has been the faster of the 3 that were battling, so maybe it'll be a little more of a challenge, but we'll see how that plays out for him. There goes Ellis making swift work of him, losing almost no time. Really solid at working his way through traffic, that guy. It's hard to even pick up a draft from him for the looks of it. He's flying through there. Look at that. Crazy exit speed. Alright, we're approaching that 11-minute mark, so everybody should have pitted. I believe Adam pitted as well. So now it's just a battle to the finish here. So the next person in Ellis's sight is gonna be Greg West. Let's see if we can even get a glimpse of him. There he is. So about 10 seconds away. That's gonna be pretty hefty for Ellis, even though he is pretty fast. That's like plus or minus. It's definitely up to you. Yeah, about 9 seconds. We'll see if he can pull it off. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. We'll see. He's making his march. Christian not falling too far behind, so like I said, he has a little bit more pace than Andrew. Maybe picking up slight toe. From the looks of it, pretty much everybody has settled in their positions here. 7 minutes left on this track. That's about 5-ish laps. Looks like they're settled in, so we're gonna see how they finish up on their side. Let's get a check in on everyone's lap times here. So we've got Ellis 47.7, Adam 47.9, Greg's in the 48, so he's slowing down. Ellis in the 47, so actually, surprisingly, he might actually be able to catch him. He's lapping about a second quicker. So we'll see if Ellis can catch up for maybe second place. Christian is in the 48, looks like he's dropping off a little bit. Andrew Schwartz in the 49, he's dropping off a decent amount. Those tires might be wearing. Caleb Reddick, 51. I think he is fighting a little bit of damage. I mean, let's see from inside the car here if anything looks a little odd. I mean, the front looks kind of angled from the looks of it, like front splitter damage, so he might have whipped around at some point. Chris Collins here and Justin rounding it out. That gap is shrinking. It's down to 7 seconds, but he only has 5 minutes to catch up to him. So we'll see if he can really do it. He on board with our leader, Hyam, has been super consistent throughout this race. I mean, laser consistent, almost no mistakes. But he doesn't have the fastest lap, so fastest lap doesn't mean everything, especially if your pit stop's been kind of slow. Ellis did have a very slow pit stop though. I'm assuming he had either damage or he took tires on accident, which happens a lot in iRacing. iRacing automatically will just give you tires and full fuel when you pit, so you have to adjust it. Those tires add a good couple seconds, so that might be what's going on here, kind of punching him a little bit for it. So we'll see. See what Ellis is up to back here. Still about a 7-second gap, give or take. Chris still has Ellis in his sights. Another thing that happens a lot at Watkins Glen is at the end of the race when people come in for tech in real life, because your car is like almost beaching itself on those big NASCAR curves, their bottom plate will be too worn out. The wood at the bottom will be too worn out. And so sometimes that's what happens. They come in and bang, they don't pass tech. There goes the position. Now in iRacing, tech doesn't really change like that, so they can get away with eating those curves. Where in real life, I mean, you see, especially with the Porsche Cups at Glen, they are super cautious eating some of those curves. Because I would hate for, you're getting maybe 0.05 of a second doing that, but at the end of the race, there it goes. Say you finish in like 5th place, you get no points because you failed tech. Something to watch out about. Let's see, so yeah, Chris and Ellis are about 3-ish seconds apart. Ellis to Greg, he is catching still, 6 second gap, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. That's gonna throw Ellis into 3rd place. Adam is still super strong at the front. There's Ellis in his rearview mirror, but I don't think he's gonna catch him anytime soon. Looks like they might be coming up on some lapped traffic here. Let's see. Maybe Chris Collins? Yep, they're coming up on Chris Collins here. We are down to our final 2 minutes, about 3-ish laps. We'll see how that goes. Next lap allowed should be a white flag. Ellis cut down to 2 seconds there in one lap. He is really pushing, but I don't know if it's going to be enough for him. Alright, that is time. It's not white flag though, because let's see where Adam is. Adam is. So Adam should be on his last lap because I believe he crossed it before. That's actually pretty crazy that Aldo, or not Aldo, Ellis was able to get down to 3 second gap there. Really surprising. I mean, give it maybe, I don't know, 10 more minutes, maybe even 5, he would probably get second place. He's really pushing to get this guy. Leader is coming around to start and finish. He's got about 3 more turns. Here he comes around the last turn. There we go. So first place, we have Adam. Second place, Greg is coming around the turn here. There's second, Greg West. Third, Ellis. Almost getting, or he got down to 2 seconds at the end. Fourth is going to be Chris John. Fifth is going to be Andrew Shorts. There he goes, crossing the start finish. Caleb Ruddick, a little bit of a ways back. I think suffering some pretty bad damage from that turnaround. He was in the fight for top 5 for a long time, but disaster struck there for him, which is kind of unfortunate. Caleb Ruddick crossing the finish line there. And we have, who is this? Chris Collins and Justin? Yeah, coming around. Right at the end. So there is our top 10. We'll see you guys next week for the Red Bull Ring, for the season finale of the Academy Sim Racing Porsche Cup Season 3. And that'll be the league there, so we'll see who takes it all. Ellis fell back a little bit here, so I'm sure that Greg will take a decent amount of points from him. So we'll see what the third or the last race will lead to. After that, we'll be taking about a month break from leagues, and then we'll start it back up. So let us know down in the comments if you have any suggestions of what tracks you want to do, what cars, what kind of format. We've done GT3 in the past, we've done Porsche Cups, we've done 86s, so it's up to you guys. But we'll see. I'll catch you guys around, and we'll see you next week for Red Bull Ring.